Hi-ho everyone, my name's Mr. Fruit and welcome to Battleborn, a new game from Gearbox. You know, those guys that brought you Borderlands? Well, they're back and with an even more ridiculous and lighthearted game. Typically, I don't do these sorts of videos, but since I want to cover this game on my channel, I want to make sure it's as clear as possible to everyone what exactly is going on. So, without further delay, here are the 5 most important things to know to play Battleborn PvP. Heroes. The game is all about the 25 different characters you're able to unlock, use, and master. The question that most people want to know is, how do I unlock all the heroes? Carefully. And by carefully, I mean each hero has 2 specific challenges you can choose to fulfill. For instance, if you wanted to unlock Umbra, you could either reach command rank 14, which is just your account level, or win 5 matches as a generic character. Generic is a type of faction, and you can easily identify which faction a hero belongs to by their backsplash as well as the logo below their name. So complete either of those challenges, and the hero is yours. This applies to all heroes, excluding the couple of heroes given to you at the beginning of the game. Each hero is unique in that each hero behaves and controls in a completely different way, from melee and ranged to spells and passives. I find myself enjoying Marquis. Marquis is a sharpshooter who can pack a punch, but can't really take the same punishment. Because of this, your playstyle and how you interact with your team and game will always vary depending on your hero's core strengths and weaknesses. More specifically though, each hero has their own kit that includes 2 spells, an ultimate, a passive, and their primary weapon. Marquis has a pistol that when fired from the hip deals moderate damage, however when you aim down the sight it becomes a long-range sniper. It's sick, I know. Each hero typically has a primary and secondary way to use their weapon. He has 2 skills that can be used in-game when they're off cooldown, and an ultimate that's pretty awesome, but because of this has a higher cooldown, meaning you have to be a little more thoughtful when using it. In their most simplest forms, those are the heroes and what they function as in Battleborn. I suggest playing around with multiple heroes and roles to find which one fits you the best and find you the most success. Gear. The emphasis on Battleborn is that every match is a fresh start, very similar to how MOBAs work, and while this comparison has been thrown out a lot, this is a much more hero shooter action game in the same vein of something like Super Monday Night Combat, which I'm totally alright with since that game was amazing. Regardless, there is one thing you can bring into a game to impact the gameplay despite the new match feel, and that's your loadout. Your loadout consists of 3 pieces of gear you've acquired through various means while playing Battleborn. You can receive a new gear from playing missions and opening loot boxes, purchasing loot boxes, or acquiring loot boxes through unlocks and various other means. Each piece of gear comes with a beneficial attribute to a stat, and sometimes more than one stat, and furthermore may sometimes come coupled with a negative stat attribute as well. You can choose 3 of these to make a loadout, and usually you'd build them around whichever hero you play the most. In game, you can then choose your loadout and have a chance to activate your gear. Note that each piece of gear has an activation cost. No gear is activated in-game until you pay that price. I would suggest finding 3 items that synergize with your hero and shoot from something like 2 lower cost activation gear with 1 higher activation cost gear for later in the game. Skills and leveling. Another fundamental and important part to understand about Battleborn is that each time you start a new activity, whether it be a story mission or a versus game, you start back at level 1. The max level you can hit in a game is 10, and this is achieved by gaining XP from several sources, such as killing bots, kills, assists, constructing buildables, destroying buildables, and so on and so forth. Each level grants you access to another perk in your helix, which is just a fancy way to say your skill tree that can be leveled differently every time to meet a different build and or role that fits the current situation. Remember to always, hear me out here, always level up your helix when you reach a new rank. These skills help your hero reach new power spikes that can drastically change the game. Decide beforehand by looking through their helix on which path you'd prefer to go and seeing what each one does. You can unlock additional helix options as you level up your character level, which is separate from your command level. You gain new character level each time you use said character, but not when you use another. Destroy bots and build buildables for easy and guaranteed XP in-game to try and get a level advantage on the enemy. Objectives. Some may hate to play them, but they're how you win the game. Recognize what game type you're playing and the necessary steps to achieve victory in that game type. For instance, Incursion is all about escorting your bots to your enemy's 2 tanks to allow them to help take down the shields and absorb damage while you destroy said tanks. There's several ways to also impact the game besides just mindlessly shoving your bot wave into their bot wave. You can build buildables, which are scattered across the maps and require a certain number of shards to be activated or upgraded. Some buildables will let you choose which type of buildable you like, while others are set in stone. These are useful in helping fend off enemy attacks, getting your team to the battlefield quicker, or even heal up outside of the dog pile. You can receive more shards as they're scattered around the battlefield, and some giant shards that grant a lot of currency when destroyed can also be found at key locations on the map. Another great way to turn the tide is to claim a mercenary camp. Mercenary camps are neutral monsters that, when provoked, will attack you, but defeating them and capturing their camp will spawn them as allies and go help push your bots. There's always something to be doing while in game, so if you find yourself chili decking, you're doing it wrong. Game knowledge. This seems pretty basic, but it's how you'll grow as a player in Battleborn. Half the battle is knowing what your enemy does. Spend time looking through the command tab and reading what each hero does. You may never play the hero, but knowing what and how they operate will benefit you in a fight because you know their terms of engagement. The longer you play, the more this and everything else will become second nature to you and will allow you to figure out your team's strengths and weaknesses as well as the enemies to begin winning each game. There's 25 heroes, so you've got some work to do. But if you ever find yourself asking how in the world you just got absolutely destroyed, odds are you should brush up on whatever just killed you. I'm guilty of that too, so don't even worry about it. Don't let anything take you by surprise is the point though. Sure, the enemy could surprise ambush and kill you, but in the sense that nothing they can do leaves you bewildered. So get to studying, nerd! And those are the top 5 things you need to know headed into Battleborn PvP. Between the art style and the game pace, it can get really busy and honestly sometimes disorienting. So instead of just giving up all hope and abandoning ship, hopefully these tips will point you into the right direction and allow you to play at your full potential. Thank you very much everybody for watching. I anticipate to have some gameplay of this very soon with the open beta right around the corner. By right around the corner, I mean it's after PS4 right now. It'll come to Xbox One and PC soon. So watch out for that. I'm super excited. Have a fantastic day.